southern, for lack of a better word, mainland, so on St. Vincent itself. And then in Grenada, the two main islands, which we've mentioned, Carriacou and Petite Martinique, that is about more or less 11,000 people. But we also have significant damages on the northern mainland of Grenada, particularly in St. Patrick's and St. John Parish. And those two parishes, the population is roughly 10,000, but the impacts there are not nearly the same as on the islands. So the percentages are down. For the data and statistics, we currently have, at least in Grenada, we have the Central Statistics Office doing a preliminary household survey on Karawan. And the government is doing a holistic needs assessment for the northern areas of Grenada, which will be ready a week from today.
Frank, go ahead.
This is something both of you can ask. Frank Uciardo from TRT World, thank you for having this press conference. Two things. One, in both your experiences on an emotional level when this hit, what was your initial reaction? And number two, in terms of tourism, which is the lifeblood of many of these island nations, what are you forecasting as far as the impact?
Who wants to take it first? Mr. Zulu, go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll go ahead. Yes, indeed. I think for Jamaica, the fact that we've not really had a hurricane in a while now, obviously having one and fairly early in the season this year really has a lot of effect on the emotional parts of individuals and the communities in the country. But I think what we see again is this spirit of resilience amongst the population of Jamaica, able to overcome. Of unity and the spirit of being able to help each other out in such needs has also helped because you see that the spirit of camaraderie between the different neighbors helping each other out, for instance, to reconstruct housing, helping out in short-term provision of foodstuffs and things like that is what has really helped going forward. So the emotional part has been quite serious, but obviously they're coping quite well in that regard, given the whole framework of resilience in Jamaicans. But in terms of tourism, obviously was hit, especially with the closing of the airports. Jamaica's quickly moved towards opening up the airports. I think effective this morning, all the airports are running, predominantly the major one in Montego Bay, which accounts for a significant number of tourist arrivals, is up and running. From preliminary assessments, very little harm came to the infrastructure in terms of tourist hotels and resorts. So that is really positive. The airlines are coming in, and in the short term, really, I think, although we're yet to determine, obviously, during the period that the hurricane hit, there'd been a shutdown. The airports, so tourist arrivals had fallen, but Jamaica is up and running, if I may say that, and the government is moving seriously to ensure that, especially the access to the resorts, the roads, and getting people back to work in these areas is done as soon as possible. Thank you. Over to you, Simon.
Thank you very much. I think you can appreciate the nature of weather systems, and particularly hurricanes, is that they develop over a course of days and sometimes weeks. And this can have quite an emotional toll on people. Really not sure what to expect, when to expect it. Some of these islands, I believe, if I'm correct, Carriacou hasn't been hit by a major storm since I think 1955. I stand to be corrected. So you also, we need to always continue to work diligently to really push the importance of having the evacuation centers and also the personal preparedness. But it is these are clearly hugely traumatic events, and even when these events only hit a portion of a nation, it really affects deeply to the soul of the rest of the population. Because it is difficult to get support up. It's difficult to help, and even non-affected families, really feel kind of helpless and deeply affected. For tourism, clearly, this is going to be a major impact. particularly on those smaller islands in the Grenadines and in the north of Grenada. Fortunately, major infrastructure such as airports and ports weren't hugely damaged, and hopefully tourists won't give up on visiting these lovely islands.
Thank you so much. Do you have another question?
No, I just wanted to remind Mr. Springett if he could find the name of that minister for us. Thank you.
We'll follow up. We'll follow up and we'll get you an answer, Edie. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us today. And thank you so much for all of you for joining us in person and online. So the work continues. As we had said, there's no noon briefing today, so that completes our programming for today. We will be back on Monday, but as you know, we're always available on the phone, by email. So if there are any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much again, and work continues, lots of work. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Bye.